Synchronic has now hit theaters. This is a sci-fi thriller starring Anthony Mackie and Jamie Dornan. They are both paramedics who are finding bizarre killings, bizarre injuries on particular people that don't match the modern age. Now, they are linking it together as they find certain clues towards this new super drug that may be causing these injuries. So what did I think about this sci-fi thriller? I'm going to let you guys know very shortly, but I want to know in the comments below, what did you guys think of this film? Did you love it? Did you hate it? I want to know. Smash that like button as well. Every like helps me out. Don't forget to click subscribe as well. And without further ado, let's jump in to this review.
Perfect.
So, Synchronic. Gosh, I am having so much trouble saying this word. Okay, so what did I think of this film? I can tell you now, I am gonna say, I actually like this film. I think it's a good film. I do think it's a good film. I do have issues with this film. Yes, I do. But I also love the idea and concept. It is brilliant. This is right up my alley. Time travel, done in a unique way, through a drug. So it sort of has like, if you guys have ever remember that film, Limitless, it is sort of like that, except it goes to another level where you can actually teleport into different times, back in the past. Which I thought was really, really unique and really good. Now, I'm going to start off with the performances, because I thought Anthony Mackie is just absolutely phenomenal in this film. He is so good. Absolutely love watching him on screen portray this character. He is starting to really creep up as one of the most underrated actors. He is just absolutely getting better and better and better. Jamie Dornan was actually really good as well as the best friend, and I thought they're both two different characters, and I thought Jamie did a fantastic bringing his character to life and making me feel for his character and what his character is going through, and I think Jamie nailed that, absolutely nailed it. Everyone else in the cast nailed their roles as well. I thought it was great, but it was mainly focused on them two. Everyone else was great as well. I had no problems with them, but those two are the main focus throughout this whole film, especially Anthony Mackie. He's the main character. But yeah, I loved the performances in this film. Now, let's get to the characters, because I absolutely love the characters. Anthony Mackie's character is so good. I was invested in his character. We spend the most of the time with his character, and I start piecing certain things that are happening to his as a character that kind of make you go, okay, whoa. I feel for this guy. I feel for this guy. I can see why he's doing certain things, and what is now occurring is making a lot more sense. And you watch his character progress. Something happens. We find out more about these flashbacks he's having, because when the flashbacks are happening, I don't know why they're happening, and I'm kind of trying to piece together. I couldn't. They do explain it towards the end of the film, and I was just kind of like, holy shit. That's pretty fucking messed up. In a good way. Like, it's not like messed up like, I don't know, it's hard to explain without spoiling it. It's good for the character, and it gives me more clarity to why he is doing certain things and why his life is where it is at. And then you get to the final act and you see his character, what his character is willing to do, and there's some really deep themes in his character and what his character is going through as well. Then you go over to Jamie Dornan's character, Dennis, and he is the family guy, and his marriage is under a lot of tension. And you start to see his character, who I absolutely felt for in this character. I felt so much for him, his wife, and his kids, because the way that they portrayed his family, how it was falling apart and trying to rebuild, and certain things happen and it just starts to rip that relationship apart, was really, really good. And you got to see the psyche of his character trying to deal with a certain event that has happened, with his struggles in the marriage, that he doesn't know what he wants to do. And then he sees his friend who he thinks has the perfect life, and then everything gets revealed to him what's going on in his life, and he realizes that he's actually envy of his life, of what he has. Brilliant. The characters are fantastic. I loved all these characters. I was really like invested in them, especially the two main leads. So I have no problems with them at all. Now we move to the story. You guys all know I love sci-fi. This story is great. I was invested in this story. I do have problems with it though, which I'm going to get to in a second. But the story overall, I thought was very unique. The time travel, and they do go through it in depth on how this occurs, where you, like certain places where you stand, certain events happen. You go to certain times. And I thought that was great. I really did. And when that started kicking in, I was so invested in that. And I was so like, oh my god, this is so cool. The way that they are doing it, the way they are doing this time travel. But I think what makes this work is they don't disobey the laws of their own physics that they create. They create their own time travel law. They never break it. It's not like Avengers Endgame, where they have established their time travel events and stuff like that, and then they break it. They break it, and then you're kind of like, well, that doesn't make sense. You broke your own law you created. This movie doesn't do that, and I like that. I like that a lot, and they actually stayed to it going into the final act as well. They stayed true to that law, and it pays off. Now we move to what I want to say is my issues with the film. The first part of the film, first half of the film, is very slow. There is a lot of pacing issues. It chops and changes from quick to slow, and it sometimes drags. The story drags on in the start. It really drags on, and I was kind of sitting there and I was kind of like, are we ever going to find out what this drug does? Are we ever going to find anything like this? And I think you could lose a lot of viewers by having it such a slow start, because then when you get to the next part, when they start picking up the drug and start realizing what it does, it really picks up and really starts to kick in, and that's when you really get invested and really jump into. The start of it is sort of like a paramedic drama, and then you get into the sci-fi halfway through. So it sort of doesn't know what it wants to be at the start. It's like two different films. A slow burning drama film, and then an absolute gorgeous, sick-ass sci-fi film. So I have a lot of issues with that going into it, and I'm kind of like, okay, it's a bit weird. And I think you will lose a lot of viewers with that. I wouldn't really do that, but hey, this guy can still make a better film than me. But I mean, it's just, that's just how I feel about it. I just think that start just really doesn't really fit. I know that you got to do your build up and that, and also they chop and change from certain scenes to flashbacks and stuff like that. It does get a little bit hard to follow in that first part. I was sitting there and I'm trying to piece it together, and I'm like, I'm not 100% sure what's going on, what's like real time, what's actually happening. So there is a lot of jumbling, messed up sort of editing that they did with certain flashbacks and that I kind of struggled with. But yeah, to me that was a major problem to me, because I'm kind of sitting there like, why am I seeing that? Like, what does that connect with him? What are you going to tell me in that? And then I've got to wait until the third act to find out at all. Sometimes it can be a bit too long, but overall, I actually really like this film. I enjoyed it, especially when it hits the sci-fi part, and that it really picks up. I enjoyed it. So let me know in the comments below, what are your thoughts on this film? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Let me know in the comments below. Smash that like button. Don't forget to click subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.